Filipino time refers to the tendency of Filipinos to be late or not strictly adhere to schedules. This cultural phenomenon has deep historical and societal roots. In today's video, we will dive into the origins and evolution of Filipino time, a distinct concept that has been shaped by various factors, including the Spanish colonization and the relaxed island lifestyle. We will also examine how these influences have molded this unique approach to time management, which is deeply ingrained in Filipino culture and daily life. Whether you are a curious observer or a seasoned traveler, this exploration will provide valuable insights into the cultural nuances and societal norms that have given rise to Filipino time. By understanding its roots and implications, you will gain a deeper appreciation for the way Filipinos perceive and navigate the concept of time. The government has taken steps to address tardiness, which is increasingly unacceptable in the Philippines. In 2013, former President Aquino passed a law requiring government offices and media outlets to synchronize their clocks. It demonstrates the government's serious efforts to address the issue of misaligned time across the country. This Republic Act was issued to make sure everyone nationwide is living their lives in the same time zone, Philippine Standard Time. Additionally, it strengthens the idea that Filipinos are often late and they love finding excuses for it. Examples of situations that have become a nuisance in Manila include the notorious traffic and the age-old "my clock isn't working" lie. The government's attempt to regulate Filipino time reflects how widespread the issue has become. Lateness seems ingrained in the culture, but it need not be viewed as a character flaw. Tardiness has been observed even among the country's past leaders, suggesting it is a common trait, not limited to individual workers. In 1949, Elpidio Quirino had been invited to New York to receive an honorary doctorate from Fordham University. Unfortunately, excitement quickly shifted to dismay when President Quirino didn't show up at the scheduled time, as reported by Miguel Bernad in a journal article. This historic event was documented by the Elpidio Quirino Foundation. The Filipino president was slated to arrive at the ceremony at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but instead came in very late at 4 o'clock, which resulted in a lot of frustration for those present who almost left due to the wait. Quirino tried to put the blame on traffic, yet people knew better. His police escort could have easily gotten him through it, and he likely used it as a pretext for his tardiness. Another intriguing example was the Marcoses. They were notorious for not respecting other people's time. It is said that at a town fiesta in Tacloban, former President Marcos Sr. arrived an hour late for a religious procession and it almost ruined the cheerful atmosphere. Imelda arrived late to a Van Cliburn recital, and the audience watched in awe as she danced for about 3 hours straight. Her partner stole the show that night. Filipino time brings a lot of challenges and opportunities. It can be frustrating when you have to do something but you don't have enough time. But in the long run, it gives other Filipino businesses a chance to step up their game. They said they didn't have seasons to deal with in the Philippines, so they're less time conscious and focused on other things. High levels of humidity and heat can be sapping one's energy, leading to procrastination and the Filipino time mentality, or the tendency to delay things until tomorrow. Filipino colonial history paints a different picture of the time. Professor Augusto de Viana of the University of Santo Tomas. Department of History points out that during the Spanish colonial period, important personages were actually honored for arriving late to social events. Being fashionably late was a sign of importance for them, something that would make the late arriving person the center of focus in the room. It was symbolic of their worth and status. It's no surprise that José Rizal incorporated these types of occurrences in his two iconic works, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. In particular, Noli Me Tangere featured an example of a Spaniard exhibiting this sort of attitude. Linares had yet to arrive, as befitting his status he was due to come after all the other guests. Some people saw it as a compliment that they had to wait longer for him, as it implied that they became more important the later he came. Rizal noted that the delayed showing of the play Bells of Cornville by a certain governor-general had a knock-on effect as mentioned in El Filibusterismo. The tardiness of this particular governor-general caused a few minutes of delay to its premiere. People often rush to the theater just as a race to win. However, there are those who would rather be executed than come late for the start of a show. It's clear that rational people prioritize punctuality over anything else when it comes to attending the theater. In 1878, the Malacañang Palace hosted a lavish ball in celebration of the Saint's Day of the King of Spain. This moment in history is captured in the official illustrated history, which depicts this grand event. For centuries, the indigenous people of the Philippines have had to bear various forms of discrimination. The habit of being late, which was previously seen as a negative attribute among Spanish elites, was later adopted by Filipinos after America took control. The upper-class Filipinos were familiar with the U.S. as they had previously been under their colonial rule. However, they exhibited similar haughty and arrogant traits as their former colonizers, which came across as a hindrance to American efforts. The researchers noticed the same trend among rural Filipinos, who were used to relying on nature's clock, sunset, and sunrise. Therefore, following their campaign of civilizing Filipinos by introducing Western habits in place of head-hunting and dog-eating, the Americans coined the phrase Filipino time. The phrase, punctuality is the politeness of kings, was not only reflective of the colonizers' disdain for their ancestors' lack of timeliness but also an effort to portray themselves in a favorable manner. The discrepancy between the Philippine time, Eastern Zone, being ahead of the U.S. time, Western Zone, challenges the stereotype of America as an almighty, all-knowing colonizer, from whom nothing can be hidden. Thus, the phenomenon of Filipino time was created, and unfortunately, it has resulted in a negative impression that Filipinos are not diligent workers. This has had a detrimental effect on how they are viewed by the international community. Turning Filipino time to Filipino on time. Many Filipinos know that tardiness that isn't fashionable does not hold sway over their efforts and is not worth making excuses for. They should strive to be on time in line with modern-age social norms and are expected to do so. According to some Filipinos, despite the fact that many other cultures around the world have their own versions of Filipino time, Filipinos should never allow themselves to be lenient in their approach because of it. It's important to stay on schedule and adhere to deadlines. Many Filipinos have said that they often judge others based on their time. They wonder why someone is late and swear when they take too long. They also added that they don't realize how important time is to their everyday lives. Many people in the Philippines want to change their mindset with regard to time. Their generation has a mentality that time is more valuable than money, but it won't be long before that changes. Some Filipinos have said that people should aim for on time in the workplace, instead of being Filipino late. Although the Philippines is a developing nation, many Filipinos have also said that it didn't have to be this way if everyone could practice punctuality and respect time. So, what do you think? We would love to know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you're new to our channel, hit that subscribe button and get notified for our new video uploads. Thanks for watching and take care of one another.